and welcome back to the latest episode of Grime and Punishment. Grime and Punishment is all about showing you the work our enforcement teams have been doing to make our borough a safer and cleaner place for you all. In each episode we focus on a particular issue and explain the different steps our teams have to go through to get the result we all want. In this episode we're heading out to Dagenham and visiting a piece of land on Civitia Way, which is owned by a local plumbing and heating company who have seemingly abandoned it, leaving it to become completely overgrown and a littering hotspot. The company is called Uptown Solutions Limited of Brook Avenue, Dagenham, and despite them being warned several times, taken to court and fined, they still haven't cleared the land up. Unfortunately, when we find an eyesore garden, whether it's residential or commercial, we can't just clear it overnight. There are a few important steps that we have to go through legally, including warning notices, fixed penalty notices, before eventually taking the individual or business to court. We met up with one of our environmental enforcement officers down at the piece of land to give us an update and explain the process they have to go through.
I'm one of the council's environmental enforcement officers, work at Barking and Dagenham. We received complaints from a councillor in relation to overgrowth on the land. Land has become detrimental to local amenity and somebody sleeping in a makeshift unit. So upon carrying out an investigation on the land, took various photographs, carried out a land registry check and identified who the landowners were. Served a warning letter in accordance with section 215 of the Town and Country Plan Act 1990, which required landowners to remove the waste and cut back the overgrowth within 14 days. I revisited after the 14 days and identified no works had been carried out by the landowners. The land was still in a detrimental state. I then served a notice in accordance with section 215 of the Town and Country Plan Act 1990, which required the landowners to cultivate the land and remove any litter, detritus and refuse from the land within 28 days, plus an additional 7 days as required by the notice. I revisited after the required period and identified that the landowners had failed to remove the rubbish and cultivate the land. I then began instigating legal proceedings, of which the company were prosecuted at court.
As of today, the land is still a mess, and we are now preparing documents to take the business back to court. We'll be sure to let you know what the outcome is in a later episode. If you want to report an eyesore garden or piece of land that seems to be neglected, head over to www.lbbd.gov.uk/report it. In other news, our parking enforcement officers caught a man using a stolen blue badge to park in disabled spaces around the borough. This is despicable behaviour and he was fined nearly £900 at court. A man who was spotted by one of our enforcement officers and looked like he was littering from his car has been fined over £1,000 and banned from driving. On approaching the vehicle, our officer realised he was drunk and was being sick. Police were called and found Mr. Rashikal Gajar well over the legal limit. And a male was arrested at Dagenham East Station after he was seen by a council officer walking around East Brookend Country Park with a loaded crossbow. His detailed description, thanks to our officer, meant the police could track him down and arrest him. And finally, in February, our enforcement teams responded to 93 eyesore garden requests, inspected and advised 44 businesses for training standards issues, carried out 235 compliance visits on private rented properties, and inspected 69 fly tipping incidents. That's all for this episode. Make sure you look out for upcoming Grime and Punishment videos as we continue our work to keep our boroughs clean and safe for everyone.